Good morning. Good morning. It's Leanne Peters here. I'm from templeofbalance.com.au, Temple of Balance on Facebook and Temple of Balance on YouTube. And I thought and felt the urge to stop by and say hi. So hi. It's lovely to see you. So I'm here to have a chat with you. Please hit me for any advice that you're seeking, anything you're struggling with, any questions you might have for me, that I would be happy to help you out. I'm not doing readings, so no reading requests, but if you do have something on your mind or something you're dealing with, and I might have a perspective or something to share on that, please feel free to comment in the comments and let me know. I'm not going to be here all day, so please write something up soon. If you're watching this later and I'm not actually live at the time of you posing your question or asking or what have you, I will see your comment later at some point when I get back on my computer in the coming day or two. So I want to welcome you. I'm going to say hello to you all in the chat. So please say your hello, send some love, let me know how you're doing. I'm interested to really know how you're doing, not what you think that I or someone else wants to hear. If you're struggling, if you're dealing with something, then, you know, if you're okay to say that you're struggling, then please do. I'm really interested. When I ask you now, and if I ask you if we happen to see each other in person anytime and I ask how you're doing, I genuinely am asking how you're doing. So how are you doing? What's going on for you? How are you feeling? What's up? So I have my smudge bowl. I'm going to do some smudging first. I also have my healing energy cards, so I will likely pull a card shortly. So I'm going to do some smudging first, then I will go through the comments here. So I've just got some sage here, some white sage, and I'm just going to do some clearing. So join me if you are interested. This will just be for a minute or two. So just lighting up this piece of sage and basically using our intention. The intention is the important thing when we're clearing negativity or clearing old energy. We don't have to use a piece of sage. We could use anything. It's our intention that's important. So I hold the intention to use this sacred smoke to help clear our space today. So if you're open to that, please take a nice big breath and imagine this sacred smoke washing over your body and carrying away with it all negative energies, entities, cords, hooks, attacks and attachments. And allow yourself, give yourself permission to let go of the things you're holding on to, the old ways, your old attitude, old behavior, old things that happened that are not supporting you at this time. And give yourself permission to let that stuff go so that you can free yourself up, create space in you to move into new things or to create a life that you're happy with. So allowing this smoke to do its job, but really it's our intention. You could use your hand to imagine that sort of smoke washing over you. You could use an incense, you could use a crystal, you could use a leaf or a feather, or like I say, just your hand. It's the intention that's important, not the tool that you're using. So just getting out this sage stick, and then I'm going to see who's here. If you just joined in, welcome. Let me know if you've got any questions, anything I might be able to help with that you might want advice on or might like advice on. I'm not pulling cards for people, but if I've got something to share or something that might be helpful, then I will let you know. If I don't have anything to share on what you're dealing with or what your question might be, I will certainly let you know. So let's scroll to the top. We have Annabelle here. Good morning, Annabelle, and Joanne. And Bridget is here. Hi, Will and Marilyn and Gloria. Gloria says, your timing is perfect. I needed a good visit from you. Well, it seems like good timing then, as you say. Welcome, Donna. Hello, Matt. And Lawrence is here. Thank you. Hi, Mara. And Raina has no questions. It's always just nice to see you. I'm doing better today. Well, that's a great thing. Thank you. Facebook hasn't fixed its glitch, I see. Patricia's here from the UK. It's 20 minutes after midnight. Wow, well, you have a good sleep when the time comes. Judy, good morning. Hi, Jacinta and Susan from Texas. Vicky is here. Hi, Vicky. Sarah says... Where is Sarah gone? Sarah says, I'm feeling energetically tired, feeling the weight of the world and wondering if there is a global message to share. No, I don't really share global messages. I think, it's hard to say, but I'm sort of more interested in how we work with the energy. You know, like this is why you don't really see posts from me talking about the Lion's Gate or the full moon this or the eclipse that or Mercury retrograde. For me, it's important for me to work with the energy that's taking place. So yes, we're affected by lots of things that are happening outside of us, different forces, whether it's society or fear that's playing out in society or bigger things like some planet going into retrograde or full moon or what have you. We're always affected by these things. That it's nothing new. So like for me, I feel more empowered to look at how I can work with the energy. So it being, say, a favourable time right now to open up new doors for ourselves. It's also a favourable time at the moment to close old doors, to look at our perspective like I talked about yesterday. So I would be looking at maybe diverting, if the world was seeming like it was weighing me down, I would look at how can I divert my attention from what's happening out there that has nothing really to do with me or I'm not in charge of. You know, I'm not responsible for what's going on out there in the world. So I could lose sleep, I could be worried, I could be burdened by all this stuff that I see. So instead I choose what I'm seeing and what I'm looking at. I don't want to bombard myself with news, especially from mainstream media. I want to keep my boundaries really strong because the only thing that I'm really responsible for is my own life. So I like to try and put the mirror up. So if the mirror is, if I'm projecting and looking at a lot of things externally, I realize that, I try and imagine putting a mirror up and looking at myself and my life and my relationships and my role in my life, because these are things I can in some ways control and in some way and in a lot of ways are responsible for. So just be careful that what I feel is important to me, maybe see if it's important to you, Sarah, and anyone else who's dealing with such things. See if it might work for you perhaps to turn your attention a bit more locally to how you feel, what's going on for you, how you can improve your life. Be the change you want to see in the world. That's something that's really important to me. So I can't change what's happening next door. I can't change what's happening on the other side of the world. But I can have an effect on my surroundings. And I want to be the change. I want to be the truth. I want to be the person that lives with integrity that I would like to see in the world. So it starts with us. So I don't know if that helps. But yeah, thanks, Sarah. Hi, Lindsay. And Siobhan is here. Hi, Siobhan. Mara is feeling stuck and my energy is drained. Usually when we feel stuck, we're not listening to how we feel. So usually we are stuck in some type of emotion that we're avoiding, or we're not looking at, or we're not being honest about how we really feel. So maybe consider, if you, Mara, or anyone who's watching is feeling stuck or stagnant, what aren't you listening to about your emotions or your state at this time? Because remember, emotions want to be in motion. So as soon as we admit to ourselves honestly that I'm angry, I am not necessarily stuck, I'm angry, I'm frustrated, I'm feeling blocked, I'm feeling unmotivated, I'm feeling scared, whatever the feeling might be, as soon as we admit that to ourselves, it's like that feeling moves. It's like a flowing river that's moving over, has little waterfalls on the way, so like a running stream. And as soon as we admit that emotion to ourselves, it seems to let that water, that emotion, run down through that stream. Instead of trying to back it up and trying to dam things up and trying to avoid how we feel. So a big thing I've noticed is if we're feeling stuck or stagnant, it usually means we're not listening to how we feel. So maybe asking ourselves questions like, how do I really feel right now? How do I really feel about this? What is this problem for me in my life that I've been avoiding? And how do I really feel about it? And letting the emotions move just like a stream. So maybe that might help, Mara, but I trust you unstick yourself soon. Fabiano, welcome. Fabiano lives in Brazil. Very wishing peace and light for you and your family. What a beautiful thing to say, and sending love and light and peace to you and your family too. Thank you, Fabino. Linda says, I'm struggling with having to make a major choice. For example, moving. I feel sad about leaving, but my health is the price being paid. And that's just one thing. It is hard, isn't it, sometimes to make changes that we don't really want to happen. So it can be helpful to look perhaps at the good things or the positives, and also find gratitude for what you were blessed with or have been blessed with in your current home or in your current space. So using that gratitude and really thinking about sort of the glass half full in the situation rather than the glass half empty. But it's also maybe a time to be honest about how you feel. And sometimes big changes like this make us go through a bit of a grieving process. So it might be important to, spend time before you move on in your own place, in your old place, remembering things, maybe crying a bit and feeling a sense of, almost like a grieving phase as you make that transition. I think it's very, very normal with those sorts of changes. So I trust it all works out well, and I trust your health certainly benefits from the move there, Linda. Alberta feels wiped out, no energy. Yeah, it's sort of a bit common at the moment, isn't it? So maybe some resting time might be helpful, or some resting time, or thinking about some things to re-motivate yourself. Maybe some exercise, daily exercise can be helpful if we're feeling wiped out. Ria says, will things get better for me? I'm sure they will. You're asking the question. And I'm not doing readings here, but I'm sure they will. If you want things to get better, then that's your intention that you're setting. So really, things part to make things improve. But it also means that things need to change. So sometimes we're holding on to things that aren't good for us. It could be even people that aren't good for us. So we also, if we want things to improve, we also have to be willing to change. And I find that statement or that affirmation really powerful when in the past, going through a big grieving process too. And also when I'm thinking about what needs to improve about myself or my life. I think and ask myself or affirm for myself, am I willing to change? Or I am willing to change. Are we willing to change our life so things can improve? So interesting. Jason, hello. Jason says, off subject, but just wondering when the new Healing Energy cards are going to be ready to buy. Yes. Well, I'm currently, so I've got them here. I've got 3 more illustrations to do, and my personal deadline for that is the end of this month. So the end of August, all illustrations should be done. and then I'm going into a 6-month intensive testing phase because what's a deck of cards that's not accurate, right? So yes, I've seen lots of cards that are accurate, but there are also cards that have rarely even come up in my current testing that I've been doing casually. So I need to make sure every card is unique. So I don't want too many repetitive messages, and that each card is accurate. So that is something that's really important to me. So I will be spending about the next 6 months. I think it's till the end of February or the end of January. Oh, I don't know. I have the dates down anyway, but they're not in front of me. But anyway, it's about 6-month intensive testing time. So I'll be practicing them a lot. Come over to my Healing Energy Cards Facebook page because I'll be doing lots of readings on there with the cards because it helps me be able to see how accurate they are and the direction that the cards are going, how they work together, well together. So with the testing period over in about 6 months from the end of this month, then I'll need about a month to finish up all the files and get the files ready for printing. So I would think that they would be opening for pre-orders around the middle of next year. So keep an eye out for that. But I will let you know. And most of the information is going to be on my Facebook page, the Healing Energy Cards. Rebecca says, how do I cut ties? I just did a whole video on that last week, attachments. So instead of repeating myself, Rebecca, please have a look in the video tab on my Facebook page, Temple of Balance, and there is a video I did last week on attachments, and that is the same sort of thing. I talked intensively about cutting ties. I even did a little exercise to cut ties or cut attachments, which is the same sort of thing to me. So have a look at that video if you can't find it, and if I remember, I will put a link up in the comments or to your comment. So, hello Glenda, and Mara says, me too. Where are we? Me too. I'm wanting to make the move but feel sad about it. Yeah. Sometimes we've just got to push through those feelings too, don't we? Because we know that logically and rationally that we need to make the change for our health or for our finances or to move closer to family. And as much as it's difficult to detach from what we've known and what we've become comfortable with and what we have memories around that old place, sometimes we need to do what's right for us or what's right for whatever our intention or purpose is for moving. So it's okay. Let yourself grieve if you're making big changes like that, but know that you're moving towards something that's positive, something that you can make work, that you will make comfortable again. Step out of our comfort zone pushes us. It helps show us what we are capable of. It helps us grow. If we stayed in the same comfortable place all the time, we wouldn't really grow much. So it's a good thing. Lucy and Charlie's here. Hello, Lisa and Janice. Joanne says, how can you tell if your perspective is clouded by illusion? Oh, it's tricky, isn't it? I think we've got to be able to step back and make sure that we are in alignment with our truth and that we're seeing the bigger picture. And sometimes it's helpful to see how other people around us are reacting to things. Because I've noticed, like for an example, if I'm noticing in several different situations in my life, but at the same time, communication issues. So let's say a family member I'm trying to communicate with and I'm not getting anything back and it's frustrating me. Communication issues, blah, with this person. But then at the same period, a different person in a different role, maybe at the gallery or something that I'm struggling to communicate with, more communication issues. And then something else is going on over here, maybe I'm being misunderstood somewhere, and communication issues. There's one common theme here, and that's me. So when these things are happening outside of me and I notice that there's more than one, So if I'm noticing a communication issue or something that seems repetitive, at the same time, a space of a few days, but with different people or different situations, the one common thread is me. So I have to own that and then look at, okay, what is the perspective here, or what communication issues do I have, or how could I communicate better? How could I listen to myself better? How could I speak more clearly? So everything is connected, and sometimes those outer tools, those outer reflections, projections that we have or that we're noticing from others can actually reveal a lot to us if we're willing to turn our perspective towards us. Because it's easy to finger point and say, he has this issue, she has this issue, blah, blah, blah. But when we get past that, or if we can get past that, and we hold up the mirror to ourselves and we notice that, hey, I'm the common thread here, what is the issue that I need to own? Then that can also be very revealing. So it can be difficult because we can get caught in illusion and it feels very real. To me, I ask myself, is this aligned with my truth? Does this feel true to me? Does this feel right to me? Sometimes I might need to have a conversation with someone that I respect or we get on or connect well with, like my husband. So I might bring up a conversation about something and see what his perspective is, and that will help give me clarity too. So I think anything that's not aligned with our truth is illusion, including our wounds, including our fear. But it's not necessarily a bad thing either, because to realise that we've been living a lie, for example, can actually propel us further and deeper into our truth, and that is really important. So I don't know if that's helpful, but yeah, good luck with that, Joanne. Angel is here, welcome. Kerry, hello. Jennifer says it's wild weather here and the roof is still on. No one can stand still. I'm just sitting back and observing. How interesting, Jennifer. Karina is here from Ohio, and Josephine. I'm going to pull a card in a second. Let's see where we go next with whatever we talk about. Bettina is at the end stages of COPD stage 4. I don't actually know what that is. Feeling very lonely and sad. Well, it doesn't sound great, Bettina. So please feel that you're being sent lots of love, not only from me, but I'm sure people who are connecting right now are spending these moments thinking of you and sending you love. And also anyone who is really struggling right now and feeling alone and doesn't know what to do, is in a really desperate, dire place for whatever reason. Please feel the love that's been sent out to you. You are not alone. You are not alone, and you do have support around for you. You might not see it so much the way you want in your life, but support is there. I'm offering it to you now by being here. There's lots of resources too, lots of videos you can go back to if you need some help in that area too. But also talking about this and joining with people who are connecting now. You are being surrounded and held in love and support. It's tough, isn't it? It's tough. And there's so much of an isolated disconnect from people in general at the moment with the world situation. There seems to be a push for a divide in people. Even I think wearing masks and things is very disconnective for people because we're losing connection with each other. So very grateful we have means like this to connect, where we can connect like this through video or audio, or we can connect with our loved ones. So usually when I'm feeling unsupported or lonely or sad, I will also look at how I can perhaps support myself better. So ways I might be able to encourage myself or nurture myself through those periods of loneliness or feeling unsupported. But please know that you're being sent love at this time. So this is a really great time now to pull a card. Actually, didn't bring anything down with me to... Have I got anything in here? Oh, actually, I do have my singing bell. Just bear with me a second. I'm going to shuffle around in my basket to find my singing bell here. Oops. That microphone tangled around it. I'll play the singing bell too. So let's pull a card in this moment, and we'll talk about the card a bit, and then I will play the singing bell for us. So let's look for the best card that we need now, the majority of us. What do we need to help support us? What do we need to talk about? What do we need at this time, the majority of us who are connecting? So the best card for now, and these are my healing energy cards. Is this card? What is that back one? Because it got sort of stuck under my finger, but I went for this one. So let's go with this guy here. Oh, this is the first time this has come up. And I got the original up there. Card 42, Self-Confrontation. Ouch. This is an ouchie card. You may remember from the original deck, there was a different illustration for the self-confrontation. So first of all, in the category, 5 categories, this sits in the depth category. So it shows that there is an energy around at the moment that might be prompting a lot of us deeper into ourselves, questioning things, asking things, making changes with things, contemplating things, reassessing our life. Maybe this sort of working out where our truth sits, you know, what is illusion in our life, what is true, that sort of thing. Now down here it says, have courage to look in the mirror. Now I've talked about this already a couple of times, especially about things that I've talked about that are happening outside of us that can be very distracting because these things pull us into them. That, you know, blaming, finger pointing, the world situation and the burden that we feel, the worry and stress and the desperation a lot of people are feeling from what is happening outside externally. So this card, the very first sentence, reminds us to look in the mirror. Now, when I say, like in a card like this, to look in the mirror, it's about putting up the reflection and looking at, okay, look either closer to home or look at what our role is in this situation. Like when I talked about the communication sort of example. So what is it that we can learn from this situation? How can we improve ourselves from what we are noticing out there? Or is what we're noticing out there distracting us from what is really important, which are the things closer to home? It's the tending to our family. It's the communicating and spending time with our family. Or getting to know ourselves better, working out what's illusion, what's truth, working out what our next course of action is going to be, our action plan, how we're going to make this change, what are we preparing for. All this stuff that's very important to our immediate surroundings, our immediate space. So the mirror is reflective and it is confrontational, because if we've been living a lie or if we've been distracting ourselves with things that are happening out there and we've been avoiding how we really feel or what really scares us or what we're really frightened about or what our real issues are, it's going to be confronting to put up that mirror and have that reflection. So it is confronting. It says, come out of hiding. Take your face off. So that came up in our art class, and I don't know if I'm going to keep it here. But, you know, taking off the mask that we've been wearing. That's been basically, again, an avoidance of how we really feel. Care about how you feel. Stop holding back. Create a new safe zone. What if those of you who are upset or struggling to come to terms with moves that we've been talking about, what if you are now able to create a new safe zone in the place you're moving to? Are you feeling that you have a safe zone? And maybe sometimes our safe zone is a place we take for granted. It might be our home space, but we've been maybe distracted by outside influences to not notice the safe zone that we have in our home or in our room or in a space that we create. It could be an inner space, might be a place in nature. Do you need to think about creating a new safe zone? And the last word says honesty. This is about seeing things raw, confronting, almost naked, completely vulnerable, to see how things really are for us. So it is uncomfortable, but it's okay to feel uncomfortable, because that will then move us or prompt us into a space of growth, which then becomes a new comfortable zone. So it's okay to feel vulnerable. It's okay to feel confronted. And it's okay to feel the depth of feelings that we have. Let's not avoid them or try and push them away. Let's own the feeling that we feel. And like I said before, let it move to the new feeling. So I'm going to play the singing bell. This is a Tibetan singing bell, and I've taken the ringer out and I hold it this way like a singing bowl. And I'm going to play the striker around it. So what I encourage you to do, I'm not going to play this for long because it's quite high pitched and can be a little grinding on the ears, so I won't play it for very long, just a minute or two. But I want to hold this space for you and remind you that it's okay. It is safe for you to feel what you feel, but don't hold yourself in the feeling. Let the feeling just flow like water running over rocks, like water flowing over a waterfall or through a waterfall. Let your emotion flow like water if you can. Admit what you feel, own it, take responsibility for it, be honest about it, then let it move. Because you might find things move and free up quicker when you're not either avoiding or holding on to a feeling. So take a nice big breath. And the key really to this is our body. So maybe if you're open to it, take a nice big breath and sit in your body. Imagine you have the most comfortable chair sitting here in your heart, and you come into your heart and you sit and you lay and you relax on this chair in your heart. How comfortable do you feel in the safe zone of your body? Does your body feel like the safe zone or the war zone right now? And how might you be able to find a little pocket or a little space in your body that can become your safe zone? Your safe place to come out of hiding. Your safe space to be able to look in the mirror, to stop projecting and distracting ourselves with outside influences and turn our attention closer to ourselves, closer to home. So I'm just finishing up now, so just take a couple of really big breaths. Breathe out and let go. Breathe in the new and true. Okay, it feels really important right now, maybe for some of us, to think about our safe space, not the trendy safe space that's talked about, but the genuine safe space that's been created by people for many generations. Not the trendy pretend one, but the real genuine space, safe space, where we can feel like we can be ourselves, where we feel that we can maybe sit in a raw emotional space, where we can sit in our working out whether something's real or not, where we can sit in this space, put the mirror up and take a good hard look at ourselves What role are we playing in our life that is not supportive, that's not helpful, that's not positive perhaps? So the safe space feels important. In the safe space we can confront these things. And the journal, our journal, can be a really helpful way of working out what we're feeling, or working out the truth from illusion, working out how to put the mirror up and what we can do in our life to help ourselves and those we love and care about. So don't underestimate the power of your journal, especially when you move into your safe space, whether it's an inner space or a physical space. If you're feeling raw, you don't know how to say, you don't know what words come to mind to describe how you feel, you can sit in that raw emotional space with your journal. You might want to just do some scribbles, some doodling. You might want to just write down all sorts of random words that seem to kind of describe how you feel or what's going on for you, so you can figure out what's happening and let yourself move through it and move on, to feel your way forward just like a stream does, feeling your way through things, but also not getting dammed up. Don't dam up the feelings either. Let them flow, let them out, let them move. And the key to that is expression. Otherwise they just become bottled up. But let's flick through a couple more comments here, and then I will pull a card to go. So I'll pop that one back. So thank you. Hi Rosie. And Jay, good morning. Hi, thanks Linda. Patricia says, Facebook. Okay, Patricia says, I'm an empath and have chronic fatigue illness with fibromyalgia, muscle pain, and absorbing other people's pain and problems. Get very drained and overwhelmed. Struggle with boundaries, but getting a little better with boundaries. Boundaries are so important for the empath, like extremely. I'm an empath as well. I'm very sensitive to energy. And over the years, especially working through Temple of Balance for now 16 years coming up, or 16 years it's been, maybe 17 coming up. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. I'm also an empath primarily, so I'm very sensitive to energy. I've always been very sensitive to energy. And it is imperative that we have ultra strong boundaries. So really, I guess I come from a very strong personality bloodline, quite stubborn. I think we have to be a bit stubborn when we're putting up our boundaries. So things like, like I hear people being woken up all hours of the night with spiritual energy knocking on their door, or spirits hanging around. That doesn't happen for me because I have strong boundaries up. So I have very clear boundaries. I worked a lot with my spirit guide early on with that to create really strong boundaries, so that I am leading the way in my life, that spirit or whatever these other things that I'm sensitive to, other people's stuff, that doesn't dictate to me my life. I dictate to me my life. I step into my role as a leader. So even when I'm working with my spiritual guides and my spiritual team, I'm leading the way. I'm instructing them what I want them to do. They're not telling me what to do. I'm not subject to their whim. So I think what I've noticed has really worked for me is to have really black and white, clear, draw a line in the sand boundaries. No, I will not accept that. Even if I'm about to do spirit guide drawings, and usually 7 to 10 at an expo the next day, sometimes it's not uncommon the night before for a spirit guide to pop into my sleep, to pop in and wake me up and appear. So I have a piece of paper next to me in my bed, on my bedside table, and if I get woken up and I've got, say, a name or an image or whatever, it would usually just be a little thing, I'll write that down, I'll thank them, okay, it's time to leave now. And then the next day, I don't know who the guide is for, but as soon as I sit with that person and start drawing, I know, okay, this is the guide that came in last night. So, pop in for a second, gone, has to be. Also, when doing healing work or energy work, also making sure the boundaries are very, very clear and strong there, and disconnected once it's over is really strong and really important. Sometimes too, though, I think that, it's not always other people's stuff. And I think that can be a bit of a hard truth to face. If I think I'm taking on other people's stuff, this was years ago because I don't need to do it now, but if I felt like that, I would ask 3 times, if this is not my pain, please leave immediately. If this is not my pain, please leave immediately. If this is not my pain, please leave immediately. And it would be gone by the 3rd time if it wasn't my stuff. 90% of the time, it stayed. So 90% of the time, I had to own that actually there is something in this for me to learn, and do my own personal healing from that. So I think, sometimes we have to be careful that we're not just saying, maybe out of habit, that we're always taking on other people's stuff, because I think the truth is that probably 10% of the time, if we don't have strong boundaries, 90% of the time that stuff will be ours to own. So I think I'm going to now prepare to go. So I'm going to pull a card to go. I want to thank you so much for joining me today, and I trust something shared has been helpful. A bit of sort of truth slapping, which is sometimes a bit hard to hear, so I trust that I'm not enemy number 1 now, but I think it's important that we hear the truth and that we look at things from a truth and honest perspective, whether we agree with it or not. I think it's good to question so we can then work out what's true for us. So I feel like I've done a bit of fish slapping today, so I don't want to be offensive to anybody, but it is more important to me that I express things in an honest way. I don't want to fluff around the edges. I don't want to sprinkle rose petals everywhere, because living honestly is much more important. So I'm looking for the best card to go. So what I mean by that is I want to find the best card that the majority of us need, that talks about what's next for us. How can we move with this energy, especially that confronting energy that prompts us to look at things honestly and ourselves honestly? How can we move that now into our life? How can we take that to the next level? How can we use it to help ourselves and those we love in our life? Where do we go from here? So if you would love to learn more about me and the work I do at Temple of Balance, please visit templeofbalance.com.au. There are probably hundreds of videos in the video library here on my Temple of Balance Facebook page, but also on my website under the video tab. So if you happen to not want to be on Facebook for a while, you can find most of the videos I do on my website or on my YouTube channel, Temple of Balance. So the best card for the majority of us as we move forward from here, how do we now take this energy to the next level? We have this card here, Cellular Change, card 37. This is, again, a depth card. So it talks about moving deeper into ourselves, deeper into how we feel, deeper into our uncomfortableness, deeper into the illusion, so we can move deeper into our truth. There is something about depth that I find most mysterious and enticing and exciting. I want to move into those unknown depths. I want to push through my fear. I want to step out of my comfort zone. I'm almost hungry for it because it takes me deeper so I can get to know myself deeper, who I am deeper. Then I can be a more improved version of myself, which hopefully means I'm an improved person for those people in my family, those people that are important to me. I want to be a good role model, so it starts with me. So cellular change, I'm going to read this, then we'll talk a bit more about this card. It says, anchoring light into your physical body. Love, healing on a cellular level. Union, merge, whole, complete, high vibrations, yin, yang. So there's a balance that's coming in with this. Healing on a cellular level. So this talks about deep healing in our body. Don't underestimate the value in those little gems of things that I've talked about today or that have prompted thought for you. Don't underestimate those gems, those, especially the ones about diverting our attention. Stop distracting ourselves with what's going on out there that we've got really nothing to do with, and put the mirror up and start looking closer to home. How can we help ourselves? How can we help those we love? How can we improve things in our life? Don't underestimate the power of that, because this card is talking about the changes that are in effect that can happen in really deep places in our body and our life when we put that mirror up and we own how we feel. We stop distracting, we stop avoiding, and we start turning our focus towards ourselves, but also towards our truth. This is deep healing in the body. So our cells are changing, especially as we look at how we can take these little things, these little treasures that resonate with us, or that you might want to play with a few ideas I have that I've shared and see, does this work for you? Don't take my word for it. See if you feel better eventually. See if you feel better eventually by putting the mirror up instead of finger pointing and blaming, or being distracted by all these outside things. The fear in the world. To me, I feel the aim of the fear in the world that's just constant. It's never ending. Out there, it's a big scary world out there. The world's gone crazy. It's to divide and conquer. People are easier to control when they feel divided and small, and when they're distracted by all this fear, because it brings fear into their own life and their own body. The best help we can be in the world is to turn that stuff off and to not allow the fear to divide and conquer us, to really step up into our power, but I think more importantly at this time, align with our truth. What is the truth? How do we really feel? So it's big stuff right now, but this is a big time. If the powers that be continue to be allowed to divide and conquer us, then conquer it will be. Conquer it is happening now. If we can just hold our ground in our truth, then we have a better chance of not allowing the conquering to happen. So we are all in this together, and we can come together in our truth, and in this way of living that I feel personally is really important. So to let high vibrations in, to see love in the world again, to see honesty in the world again. We have to live honestly. We have to live with love. We have to stop living in fear, otherwise we're going to keep seeing fear. So to let love in, to let that truth and that honesty, that balance, that vibration into the very depths and core of our body and being, we need to be able to live it and stop being distracted by the opposite of it that we're not seeing. The power is in our hands. And this is what the powers know, because there are more of us than them. So if they keep us divided, then they've got a better chance of conquering us. We won't uprise. We'll just submit to their power. But it doesn't have to be that way, at this point anyway. So thank you for joining me, and I trust this has supported you in some way. Have a great rest of your day. I've got 5 little jars here holding, firming up from a couple of days ago, little ceramic jars. Oh, I'll show you one, then you know what I'm talking about. Oh, I'll bring you over. Excuse my mess. Hold on. I'll turn the camera around. Where is it? Here. Excuse my messy studio at the moment. Under here I have my 5 jars. These are going to become jars, like my dragon jars that you may have seen recently. So these are all filled in, fairly firm. Stuck to plastic, but I can take it off. So they're going to become little owl jars. So that top line that you see where I joined that little hat on, That'll probably become the lid, and then I'll push and sculpt in some little owl features. I think these would make really good owl shapes. So that's what I'll be doing for the rest of the day mainly, until I go back to band. So have a great rest of your day, guys, and thank you so much for hanging around with me. I feel like I've been here forever. So I will chat with you again soon. Take care. Bye for now. And you are not alone. Don't forget it.